Ambassador Lee Dong-yun sat in the massive council chamber, watching the alien representatives argue about trade routes. The chamber was huge, with seats arranged in circles that went up to the ceiling. Each seat held a different alien species, and their voices created a strange mix of sounds: clicks, whistles, deep rumbles, and electronic beeps from translation devices. Lee had been Earth's main diplomat for 12 years. He was 52 years old, with gray hair and tired eyes. He had seen many meetings like this one, but today felt different. Today, he carried a folder full of papers that would change everything. Captain Park Min-ho stood near the back of the chamber with two other human officers. His uniform was clean and pressed, but his hand rested on his weapon. Park had commanded the human escort ships for 5 years. He knew something big was about to happen. Lee had told him to be ready for anything. Dr. Kim Nari sat next to Lee, her tablet full of data about alien cultures and languages. She was 38 years old and had studied alien behavior for most of her career. She understood how the alien council members thought, and she knew they would not like what Lee was about to say. The current speaker was Council Speaker Velthar, a tall being made of what looked like living crystal. Light moved through his body as he spoke, creating pretty patterns. But his words were not pretty at all. The human colonies continue to report problems with their equipment, Velthar said, his voice sounding like wind chimes. These are normal technical issues. All new species face such challenges. The Council suggests patience and proper maintenance procedures. Lee felt anger rise in his chest. For 18 months, human colonies had suffered from mysterious problems. Food processors broke down. Communication systems failed. Power generators stopped working. Medicine went bad in storage. Each time the aliens said it was normal. Each time they offered to sell replacements at high prices. Trade Minister Coxeval clicked his mandibles together. He looked like a giant ant with 4 arms and compound eyes that reflected the chamber's lights. Human technology is still primitive, he said in his buzzing voice. The Council generously provides advanced systems, but humans must learn to use them properly. Lee had heard enough. He stood up slowly, his chair making a soft sound as it moved back. The chamber grew quiet. All eyes turned to him. Some eyes, some light sensors, some things he could not even identify. Speaker Velthar, Trade Minister, Coxeval, honored council members, Lee began, his voice clear and strong. I have served as Earth's ambassador to this council for 12 years. In that time, I have watched humanity try to be good members of the galactic community. He opened his folder and pulled out the first document. 6 months ago, the colony on Kepler 442b lost power to their entire medical facility. 37 people died because their life support systems failed. The investigation found that critical components had been replaced with inferior parts during the last maintenance visit by Galactic Technical Services. Murmurs filled the chamber. Some aliens shifted in their seats. Lee pulled out another paper. 4 months ago, the agricultural dome on Ross 128b collapsed, destroying a year's worth of food crops. The dome's support structure had been weakened by upgraded materials that corroded faster than the original human-made parts. The murmurs grew louder. Council Speaker Velthar's light patterns flickered faster. Ambassador Lee, these are serious accusations. Do you have proof of deliberate? 3 months ago, Lee continued, his voice getting stronger. The communication array on Wolf 359C went down during a medical emergency. A child died because the colony could not call for help. The array had been improved with Galactic Council technology that was incompatible with emergency frequencies. Dr. Kim Nari stood up beside him. She activated her tablet, and holographic images appeared in the center of the chamber. The images showed failed equipment, broken components, and data charts. The pattern is clear, Kim said. Every piece of equipment that fails has been modified or replaced by Council-approved vendors. Original human technology works fine until Council representatives insist on upgrades for safety and efficiency. Trade Minister Coxeval's wings buzzed angrily. This is ridiculous. The Council's technology is far superior to primitive human devices. If humans cannot maintain advanced systems properly, we can maintain them just fine. Lee interrupted. When we're allowed to use our own parts and follow our own procedures. But council regulations require us to use only approved vendors and approved methods. And those approved systems keep failing at exactly the wrong moments. General Vexmore stood up from his seat. He was 7 feet tall, with thick gray skin and 4 arms. His species, the Dractani, were known as great warriors. Are you accusing the Council of sabotage, human? Lee looked directly at the general. I am stating facts. Human colonies suffer equipment failures only after Council-mandated upgrades. Human ships have navigation problems only after installing Council-approved guidance systems. Human medical facilities lose patients only after using Council-certified medicines. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Some aliens demanded proof. Others accused Lee of paranoia. A few species representatives looked uncomfortable, as if they recognized similar problems in their own territories. Council Speaker Velthar raised his arms, and the noise slowly died down. Ambassador Lee, these are very serious charges. The proper procedure is to file formal complaints through the appropriate committees. The Investigation Bureau will review your evidence according to established protocols, which will take 15 to 20 years, Lee said calmly. While more humans die from mysterious equipment failures, while our colonies struggle with problems that never existed before we joined this council. The law must be followed, Velthar insisted. No species receives special treatment. The council has procedures for. Lee closed his folder with a sharp snap. The sound echoed through the chamber like a gunshot. Captain Park Minho moved closer, his hand still resting on his weapon. The United Earth Federation has followed council procedures for 47 years, Lee said, his voice carrying to every corner of the chamber. We have paid our membership fees. We have accepted junior status. We have allowed council oversight of our technology, our trade, our expansion into new systems. He picked up his folder and tucked it under his arm. We have been patient while council regulations made our equipment less reliable. We have been understanding while council-approved vendors charged us triple the cost for inferior replacements. We have been diplomatic while our people died from problems that never existed before. Dr. Kim Nari gathered her things and stood beside Lee. Captain Park Minho moved to Lee's other side. Today that ends, Lee announced. The United Earth Federation formally withdraws from all diplomatic relations with the Galactic Council, effective immediately. We will no longer participate in council meetings. We will no longer follow council regulations. We will no longer use council-approved vendors or council-certified equipment. The chamber fell completely silent. Even the translation devices seemed to stop humming. We will handle our own affairs from now on, Lee continued. We will protect our own colonies. We will develop our own technology. We will trade with whoever offers fair deals and reliable products. Trade Minister Kyoxval's wings buzzed frantically. You cannot simply leave the council. No species has ever tried, Lee corrected. Perhaps because no other species has been systematically sabotaged for decades. General Vexmore stepped forward, his forearms spread wide in a threatening gesture. The galaxy is dangerous, human. The Council provides protection from pirates, hostile species, natural disasters. Without Council support, your colonies will be destroyed within months. Lee smiled for the first time in the meeting. General, our colonies have faced more danger from Council help than from any external threat. Our equipment worked better before Council improvements. Our trade was more profitable before Council regulations. Our expansion was faster before Council oversight. He turned to address the entire chamber. To those species who have dealt fairly with humanity, we hope to continue our friendship. To those who have profited from our suffering, we will remember your actions. Captain Park Minho touched his earpiece and spoke quietly into his communicator. Through the chamber's windows, lights began appearing in space as human ships powered up their engines. Council Speaker Velthar's light patterns flickered rapidly. Wait, we can discuss this. Perhaps some adjustments to current policies. Speaker, Velthar, Lee said politely. For 47 years, humanity asked for adjustments to policies that were killing our people. For 47 years, we were told to be patient, to follow procedures, to trust the council's wisdom. He walked toward the chamber's exit, his footsteps echoing in the silence. Dr. Kim Nari and Captain Park Minho followed him. "We have lost our patience," Lee said without turning around. "We no longer trust the council's wisdom, and we have decided to follow our own procedures." At the chamber doors, Lee stopped and turned back one last time. "The United Earth Federation will not be returning to these chambers. We will not be accepting council communications. Any council ships entering human space will be asked to leave immediately." "This is madness," Trade Minister Coxval buzzed. "You will be isolated, cut off from galactic civilization." 6 months had passed since the humans walked out of the council chamber. In that time, the Galactic Council had held 17 emergency meetings, created 4 new committees, and written over 600 pages of new regulations about diplomatic withdrawals. Council Speaker Velthar stood at the center of the chamber, his crystal body glowing with satisfaction. The emergency was over. The crisis had been handled. Soon the humans would come crawling back, begging for forgiveness and help. "The human embargo has been completely successful," Velthar announced to the assembled representatives. "All trade with human colonies has stopped. All technology transfers have ended. All medical and industrial supplies have been cut off. Trade." Minister Coxval clicked his mandibles happily. His insectoid face could not smile, but his wing patterns showed pleasure. Human colonies should be experiencing severe shortages by now. Their primitive technology cannot sustain their population without council support. General Vexmore stood up, his 4 massive arms crossed over his chest. "My intelligence reports confirm that human expansion has stopped completely. No new colonies have been established. No new ships have been built. Their fleet remains exactly the same size it was 6 months ago." Murmurs of approval filled the chamber. Several species representatives nodded their various types of heads. The Catherian delegation chimed like wind chimes in harmony. The Hive Collective buzzed with satisfaction. Admiral Kang Taiho floated in his command center above Earth, reading the latest intelligence reports. He was 55 years old, with short gray hair and calm eyes that missed nothing. Around him, dozens of officers worked at control stations, coordinating activities across human space. "They think we've stopped expanding," Kang said to his chief of staff, Commander Ryu Hyejin. "They think our fleet is the same size." Hyejin smiled as she read data from her tablet. "Sir, yesterday we completed construction on the 15th new shipyard. The Titan-class vessels from Yard 7 will be ready for testing next week." "And the new colonies?" 43 new settlements established in the past 6 months. The agricultural worlds in the Kepler system are already producing food surpluses. The mining operations in the Wolf system have exceeded all production estimates. Kang nodded slowly. The humans had learned an important lesson during their time in the council. Never let your enemies know your real capabilities. Dr. Choi Hyerim worked in her laboratory deep inside Ganymede Station, surrounded by alien technology that her teams had been studying for months. She was 41 years old with long black hair usually tied back while she worked. Her lab coat was stained with various chemicals from her experiments. "We've cracked the Draktani shield generators," she announced to her research team. "The power efficiency can be improved by 30% if we modify the crystalline matrix structure." Engineer Yoon Jaewon looked up from his workstation, his young face excited. "The Hive collective navigation systems are even easier. They use biological computing, but we can replicate the same functions with quantum processors that work twice as fast." Dr. Choi smiled. "Keep working. Every piece of council technology we understand makes us more independent." Back in the council chamber, the mood was celebratory. Trade Minister Coxval presented charts and graphs showing human colony populations, resource consumption, and industrial output. All the numbers showed decline and struggle. "According to our projections," Coxval buzzed, "human colonies will begin experiencing food shortages within 3 months. Medical supplies will run out within 5 months. Industrial equipment will break down within 8 months." Council Speaker Velthar's light patterns pulsed with approval. And when they realize they cannot survive alone, they will return to us. But this time, they will accept their proper place as a junior species. No more demands for equal treatment. No more complaints about council procedures. General Vexmore's scarred face showed satisfaction. I have prepared occupation plans for human space. When they surrender, we will need to establish direct council control to prevent future rebellions. Several species representatives applauded. The idea of bringing the humans to heel appealed to many council members who had grown tired of human complaints and questions. But not everyone in the chamber was celebrating. Ambassador Zeknara of the Epsilon Collective sat quietly in her corner seat. Her people were traitors who valued information above all else, and her information suggested something different. Speaker Velthar, Zeknara said, her mechanical voice cutting through the celebration. My people have monitored all communication frequencies in human space for the past 6 months. We have detected unusual signals. The chamber grew quiet. Velthar's light patterns shifted to a cooler blue. What kind of signals? Technical specifications, construction reports, resource surveys. The communications suggest large-scale building projects throughout human territory. Trade Minister Coxeval's wings buzzed dismissively. Impossible. Our embargo prevents them from obtaining the materials for major construction. They lack the advanced technology for complex projects. That is what troubles me, Zeknara continued. The technical specifications in their communications describe technologies we do not recognize, materials we have never seen, construction methods that appear innovative. General Vexmore laughed, a sound like rocks grinding together. The humans are probably discussing fantasy projects to boost morale. When people are starving, they dream of better times. But Zeknara was not convinced. Her people had traded throughout the galaxy for thousands of years. They knew the difference between wishful thinking and actual planning. Commander Nam Wu-jin sat in his surveillance center on the edge of human space, watching alien probe ships attempt to gather intelligence on human activities. He was 34 years old with sharp eyes and quick reflexes that had kept him alive through many dangerous missions. Another Catherian scout ship trying to penetrate the Vega system, reported Lieutenant Park Suman from her sensor station. Jam their sensors and send them the standard message, Nam ordered. Human space is closed to unauthorized vessels. Sir, that's the 5th probe this week. They're getting more persistent. Nam smiled coldly. Let them be persistent. They can't see what they can't find. The human surveillance network was unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Instead of large, obvious sensor stations, humans used thousands of tiny hidden devices, scattered throughout their space. Each device was no bigger than a basketball, but together they created a detection network that could spot a ship entering human territory from light years away. More importantly, the network included jamming, devices that could blind alien sensors while remaining completely invisible themselves. Council probe ships entered human space and saw nothing but empty systems and failing colonies, exactly what their operators expected to see. On the agricultural world of New Sol and the Wolf system, farmer Li Ji-su tended to crops that produced 3 times more food per acre than anything the council had ever achieved. The new growing techniques developed by human scientists use no alien technology at all, just careful study of plant biology and soil chemistry. Another successful harvest, Li told his wife as they watched automated harvesters work through their fields. We're producing enough food to supply 12 colonies now. Similar scenes played out across human space. Mining operations extracted resources more efficiently than council techniques. Manufacturing plants produced goods more reliably than council facilities. Research stations developed new technologies without any alien assistance. Back in the council chamber, the celebration continued. Speaker Velthar raised his arms for attention. The human crisis reminds us why the council exists. No species can survive alone in the dangerous galaxy. Unity through the council provides safety, prosperity, and advancement. Soon the humans will understand this truth, General Vexmore added. They will return grateful for our wisdom and protection. Trade Minister Coxval buzzed agreement. We must be prepared to accept their surrender graciously, but they must also accept consequences for their rebellion. Higher membership fees, stricter oversight, limited voting rights. The council members nodded and chirped and hummed their approval. Justice would be served. Order would be restored. The humans would learn their place. But in the corner, Ambassador Zeknara continued reading reports from her people's intelligence network. The data made no sense according to council understanding of human capabilities. Either the humans had somehow achieved impossible technological advancement in 6 months, or they had been hiding their true abilities for decades. Speaker, Felthar, she said again, I request permission to send a formal diplomatic mission to human space. My people wish to verify the situation in their colonies. Velthar's light patterns flickered with annoyance. The humans have rejected all diplomatic contact. They have made their position clear. Nevertheless, the Epsilon Collective wishes to confirm their status. As traders, we have legitimate concerns about the stability of the region. General Vexmore stepped forward threateningly. No contact with the rebellious humans until they surrender. Any species that trades with them will face council sanctions. The threat was clear. The council would not tolerate any member species dealing with the humans until the crisis was resolved properly. But as the meeting ended, 1 year had passed since the humans left the council chamber. Council Speaker Velthar stood before a wall of communication screens, all of them dark and silent. For 12 months, the council had waited for desperate messages from human colonies. Messages begging for help, messages offering surrender, messages asking for forgiveness. Instead, they received nothing at all. Still no communication from any human colony, reported Communications Director Thyvel, her tentacles moving nervously as she checked her equipment. No distress signals, no trade requests, no diplomatic overtures. Complete radio silence from all of human space. Velthar's crystal body flickered with frustrated patterns. This makes no sense. By now their colonies should be failing. Their people should be dying. They should be screaming for help. Trade Minister Coxval buzzed with confusion from his seat at the conference table. Our economic models were perfect. Without council trade, human colonies cannot sustain their populations. Without council technology, their equipment should have failed months ago. General Vexmore slammed one of his 4 fists on the table. I demand permission to send reconnaissance flights into human space. This silence is unnatural. We need to know what is happening in their territories. Reconnaissance missions have already been approved, Velthar replied. Admiral Park Seolhyun will lead a full investigation fleet. We will discover exactly what the humans are hiding. Admiral Park Seolhyun was not human, despite her name. Her species, the Corvani, had joined the council 300 years ago and had adopted naming conventions from various member species. She was 8 feet tall with silver skin and 4 eyes that could see across multiple light spectrums. Intelligence suggests the humans have established some kind of communications blackout, Park told her fleet commanders as they prepared for the mission. All signals from their space have stopped completely. Either they are all dead or they are deliberately hiding something. Captain Velkorian of the heavy cruiser Domination nodded his massive head. If they are dead, we will confirm it and claim their territories. If they are hiding, we will discover their secrets. The investigation fleet consisted of 12 ships, from 6 different species. They were equipped with the most advanced sensors the Council possessed. They could detect life signs from orbit, analyze atmospheric composition from light years away, and penetrate most known forms of electronic jamming. As the fleet approached the edge of human space, their sensors began picking up strange readings. Admiral, called sensor operator Kexlani from her station, I am detecting structures in the outer asteroid fields of the Wolf system, but they do not match any known human construction patterns. Park studied the sensor data on her command screen. The structures were enormous, much larger than anything humans had built before leaving the Council. They appeared to be mining and manufacturing facilities, but their design was completely unfamiliar. Take us closer, Park ordered. I want detailed scans of those facilities. As the fleet moved deeper into the system, more strange readings appeared. Massive orbital platforms surrounded several moons. New settlements covered the surfaces of previously uninhabited planets. Space traffic moved between facilities in patterns that suggested heavy industrial activity. "This is impossible," whispered Captain Velkorian. "The humans had 12 colonies when they left the Council. I am detecting at least 30 inhabited worlds in this system alone. But most disturbing of all was the technology. The sensor readings showed power signatures unlike anything in Council databases. The ships moving between facilities used propulsion systems that produced no recognizable energy patterns. The orbital platforms generated electromagnetic fields that interfered with Council sensors in ways that should not have been possible. "Admiral," Kekselani called out, her voice nervous. "We are being scanned." Park looked at her sensor officer in surprise. "By whom? We have detected no ships in our vicinity." "Unknown, sir. The scans are coming from multiple directions, but I cannot locate the source. It is as if the scanning beams are originating from empty space." Captain Shinbogum watched the alien fleet from his concealed observation post in the asteroid field. His ship, the Soul's Pride, was invisible to Council sensors thanks to new stealth technology developed by human engineers. The hull was covered with metamaterials that bent electromagnetic radiation around the ship like water flowing around a rock. "They look confused," observed Lieutenant Kim Dae-sung from the sensor station. "Their scanning patterns suggest they cannot understand what they are seeing." Shin smiled grimly. "They expected to find dying colonies and failing equipment. Instead, they find a civilization that has surpassed their own in less than a year. Should we make contact, sir?" "No. Let them look. Let them wonder. Let them report back to their Council masters that humanity has become something they never expected." The investigation continued for 3 days. Admiral Park's fleet visited system after system, finding the same impossible pattern everywhere: thriving colonies, advanced technology, industrial capacity that seemed to exceed what the entire Council could produce. On the 4th day, they encountered something that made their situation clear. "Admiral," Kekselani called out urgently, "I am detecting a large ship approaching our position, but its configuration does not match any known human design." The ship that appeared on their screens was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. It was 3 times larger than any human vessel the Council had seen before. Its hull seemed to shimmer with its own light, and its approach was so silent that it appeared to be gliding through space without any propulsion at all. A communication signal reached Park's flagship. The voice that spoke was calm, polite, and unmistakably human. "Council fleet, this is Captain Lee Dayun of the Earth Federation vessel Incheon Rising. You are currently in Federation space without authorization. Please state your business here." Park activated her communication system, trying to project authority despite her growing confusion. "This is Admiral Park Seol-hyun of the Galactic Council, Investigation Fleet. We are conducting reconnaissance operations under Council Resolution 4471B. There was a pause before Captain Lee responded. "Admiral, the Earth Federation does not recognize Council Resolution 4471B or any other Council authority in Federation space. We appreciate your visit, but you are not welcome here. Please return to Council territory immediately." "Captain Lee," Park said, struggling to maintain her commanding tone, "the Council has legitimate concerns about the status of human colonies. We have received no communications from your people for over a year. We need to verify that your populations are safe and healthy." Another pause. "Admiral, Federation colonies are safer and healthier than they have ever been. We have no obligation to report our status to the Council. We ask again that you leave Federation space immediately." General Vexmore had given Park specific orders about how to handle human resistance. She activated her fleet's weapon systems and moved into an intimidating formation. "Captain Lee, this fleet operates under Council authority. We will complete our investigation mission regardless of human objections. Stand aside or face the consequences." The response came not from Captain Lee, but from the appearance of 6 more human ships. They materialized out of empty space around the Council fleet like ghosts becoming solid. Each ship was larger and more advanced than the Incheon Rising. "Admiral Park," Captain Lee's voice was still calm, but now carried an edge of steel. "You are outnumbered and outgunned. Your ships are obsolete compared to current Federation technology. We ask one final time that you leave peacefully." Park stared at her sensor readings in disbelief. The human ships showed power signatures that were impossible according to Council science. Their weapon systems appeared to be charging with energy levels that could destroy her entire fleet. "This is impossible," she whispered. "How did they develop such technology in only 1 year?" Chief Engineer Bay Susie monitored the confrontation from her control center on the Incheon Rising. She was 29 years old and had been instrumental in developing the stealth technology that kept human ships hidden from Council sensors. "Their ships are sitting ducks," she reported to Captain Lee. "Our targeting systems have complete locks on all 12 vessels. We could disable their entire fleet without taking any damage." "Maintain defensive positions only," Lee ordered. "We are not here to start a war. We are here to send a message." The message was clear enough. In 1 year, humanity had not only survived without the Council, they had become more technologically advanced than their former rulers. The Council fleet was completely helpless against human capabilities. Admiral Park faced an impossible choice. She could order an attack and watch her fleet be destroyed by technology she did not understand. Or she could retreat and report back to the Council that everything they believed about human capabilities was wrong. "Council fleet, this is Admiral Park," she announced on an open channel. "We are withdrawing from human space." Mission concluded. As the Council ships turned and fled toward the edge of the system, Captain Lee opened a final communication channel. "Admiral Park, please give our regards to Speaker Velthar. Tell him that the Earth Federation wishes the Council well and hopes they will reconsider their approach to member species. We are always willing to discuss mutually." 18 months after the human departure, the Galactic Council was no longer celebrating. Admiral Park Seol-hyun's report had been classified at the highest levels, but rumors spread quickly through the Council chambers. Some said the humans had built impossible technologies. Others claimed they had made secret alliances with unknown alien powers. All agreed that something was very wrong with the Council's understanding of the situation. Council Speaker Velthar called another emergency session, the 43rd since the humans had left. The chamber was half empty. Several species representatives had stopped attending regular meetings, claiming they were too busy with internal affairs. Others sent junior diplomats instead of their main ambassadors. "We need more information," Velthar announced, his crystal body flickering with agitated patterns. Admiral Park's reconnaissance was limited to border regions. "We must discover what is really happening throughout human space." Trade Minister Coxval buzzed nervously from his seat. His confidence had disappeared after learning that human industrial output was somehow exceeding Council projections by impossible margins. "Perhaps we should consider opening diplomatic channels. If the humans have developed new technologies, we could benefit from trade agreements." General Vexmore's scarred face twisted with disgust. "We do not negotiate with rebels. The humans must be brought to heel through force, not bargaining." But even the general's voice lacked its usual confidence. His intelligence reports painted a picture of human military capability that made Council forces look like children playing with toys. Ambassador Zeknara of the Epsilon Collective stood up slowly. Her mechanical voice cut through the arguments like a blade. "I have new intelligence from my traders operating in neutral space. The information suggests the human situation is far more complex than we realized." Velthar's light patterns shifted to attention. "What kind of intelligence?" "My people have encountered human ships in 12 different star systems beyond Council territory. These ships are trading with non-Council species, offering goods and technologies that appear to be superior to Council products." The chamber fell, silent. Trade with non-Council species was not forbidden, but it was strongly discouraged. The Council maintained its power by controlling access to advanced technology and forcing species to depend on Council-approved vendors. "What kinds of goods?" Coxval asked, his wings trembling. "Medical supplies that cure diseases our own medicine cannot treat. Manufacturing equipment that produces goods faster and more efficiently than Council technology. Agricultural tools that increase crop yields by factors we believed impossible." Zeknara activated a holographic display in the center of the chamber. Images appeared showing human-made devices and their performance specifications. The numbers were disturbing. "Furthermore," she continued, "these non-Council species report that human traders are honest, reliable, and offer fair prices. Several species have expressed interest in establishing permanent trade relationships with the Earth Federation instead of seeking council membership. This statement sent shockwaves through the chamber. The council's entire power structure depended on species believing they needed council membership to access advanced technology and protection. If humans could provide the same benefits without the restrictions and fees, the council's authority would collapse. Captain Shin Bogum piloted his exploration vessel through the Centauri Nebula, mapping star systems that the council had marked as unsuitable for development. The humans had discovered that the council's definition of unsuitable was very limited. Systems with unusual stellar radiation, asteroid fields, or gravitational anomalies were often perfect for human settlement once you understood how to work with the natural conditions instead of fighting against them. Another Class M world in the Kepler 1649 system, reported Navigator Park Soyoung from her station. The gravity is high and the solar radiation is intense, but it's perfect for our new fusion-powered agricultural domes. Shin smiled as he updated his charts. In 18 months, human explorers had mapped and settled more new systems than the Council had explored in the past century. The difference was perspective. Council species looked for worlds that matched their existing needs. Humans looked for worlds with potential and then developed technology to unlock that potential. "Sir," called Communications Officer Yang Junho, "we're receiving a message from the trade convoy in the Vega system. They've made contact with a new species called the Threnodi. They're asking about establishing a formal trade agreement." "Tell them to follow standard protocols," Shin replied. "Fair prices, honest dealing, no requirements for political alignment. If the Threnodi want to trade, we trade. If they want to be left alone, we leave them alone." This simple philosophy had made human traders welcome throughout the region. Unlike council representatives, humans never demanded political concessions, religious conversion, or technology transfers in exchange for trade. They offered good products at fair prices and respected the independence of their trading partners. Dr. Yang Soman worked in her research laboratory on Titan Station, studying samples of council technology captured during various encounters. She was 36 years old with short black hair and intense brown eyes that missed no detail in her work. "The Catherian energy systems are actually quite elegant," she explained to her research team. "But they're designed for species that think in terms of rigid hierarchies. Every component has a specific role that never changes." Her assistant, Dr. Cho Minwoo, looked up from his analysis station. "Human thinking is more flexible. We can redesign their components to adapt to different situations automatically." Yang nodded. "Exactly. Council technology is powerful but inflexible. Human technology is adaptive. When you combine the two approaches, you get systems that are both powerful and intelligent. This was the secret behind humanity's rapid technological advancement. They did not simply copy alien technology. They understood it, improved it, and combined it with human innovations to create something entirely new." Intelligence Officer Nam Woo-jin monitored council communications from his hidden listening post in the outer system. His job was to track council activities without being detected, a task that had become increasingly easy as human stealth technology advanced. "The council is planning another reconnaissance mission," he reported to Admiral Kang Tae-ho via encrypted communication. "This time they want to send diplomatic envoys instead of military scouts." Kang's voice came back clear and calm. "Any idea who they're sending?" "Former human allies, species that joined the council decades ago and adopted council thinking. They believe familiar faces will be more welcome than crystal beings or insect creatures. Let me guess. They want to convince us that we need council protection from some terrible threat." Nam smiled as he read the intercepted messages. "Actually, sir, they seem to be more interested in learning how we achieved our technological advances. Several council members are privately worried that other species might follow our example. This was exactly what President Han Yu-jin had hoped would happen. The human strategy was not to destroy the council, but to prove that independence was possible. Once other species realized they could thrive without council oversight, the council's power would naturally diminish. The diplomatic mission arrived at the edge of human space 2 weeks later. The delegation was led by Ambassador Kim Woo-sung, a member of the Terran-descended colony species that had joined the Council 50 years earlier. His people looked human, but had adapted to life on high-gravity worlds, making them taller and stronger than baseline humans. Federation vessels, this is Ambassador Kim Woo-sung representing the Galactic Council. I request permission to enter Federation space for diplomatic discussions. Captain Lee Da-hyun's response came from the patrol ship guarding the system boundary. Ambassador Kim, you are welcome to enter Federation space as a representative of your own people. However, we do not recognize your authority to speak for the Galactic Council. Kim felt a surge of frustration. Captain, I am an official council ambassador. My credentials are recognized throughout the galaxy. Sir, the Earth Federation withdrew from all diplomatic relations with the Council 18 months ago. We have no council ambassador to accept your credentials. You are welcome as a representative of the Altair Colony Union, but not as a council representative. The distinction was important. Humans were willing to talk to individual species, but they would not legitimize council authority by accepting council diplomatic credentials. Kim's ship was escorted to the space station orbiting New Geneva, one of humanity's newest colonies. As they approached, Kim stared in amazement at what he saw. The station was enormous, easily 10 times larger than anything the council had built. Its design was both beautiful and functional, with living quarters, industrial facilities, and research laboratories, all integrated into a structure that looked more like a floating city than a space station. How did they build this so quickly? Kim asked his aide, Commander Park Ji-yeon. Sir, according to our intelligence, this entire system was empty when the humans left the council. They've built all of this in less than 2 years. Kim shook his head in disbelief. Even with unlimited resources, council engineering would require decades to complete such a project. On the station, Kim was greeted. 2 years had passed since humanity left the Galactic Council, and the galaxy was changing in ways that terrified the council leadership. Council Speaker Velthar stood in his private chambers, staring at reports that painted a picture of systematic collapse. 3 more species have formally withdrawn from the council this month, reported his aide, Subspeaker Kylvan. The Miran Confederacy, the Stellar Union of Procyon, and the Free Worlds of Tau Ceti. They all cite the same reason. They want to pursue independent development like the humans. Velthar's crystal body flickered with patterns of deep distress. How many does that make total? 17 species have left the council in the past 6 months, sir. Another 31 have reduced their participation to minimal levels. They still attend meetings but refuse to follow council directives. The numbers were devastating. In 3,000 years of council history, they had never lost so many members so quickly. The human example had become a virus, spreading the idea that species could thrive without council oversight. Trade Minister Coxwell buzzed into the chamber, his wings moving in patterns that showed extreme agitation. Speaker Velthar, I have worse news. The council's trade revenues have dropped by 60% in the past year. Non-council species are choosing to trade with human merchants instead of council-approved vendors. Why? Velthar demanded, though he suspected he knew the answer. Human traders offer better prices, higher quality goods, and faster delivery times. They don't require political concessions or technology transfers. They simply trade fairly and honestly. Velthar turned away from his aide to hide his frustration. The council's entire economic system was based on controlling trade through regulations, approved vendors, and political requirements. If species could get better deals elsewhere, the council's financial foundation would crumble. President Han Yujin stood before the Earth Federation Parliament, delivering her annual address on the state of human civilization. She was 53 years old with silver hair and confident eyes that reflected 2 years of unprecedented success. Fellow citizens, she began, 2 years ago, we made the difficult decision to leave the Galactic Council and pursue an independent path. Today I can report that this decision has exceeded our most optimistic expectations. The Parliament chamber erupted in applause. Representatives from dozens of human colonies and allied species filled the seats, their faces showing pride and satisfaction. In 2 years, we have established 87 new colonies. Our population has grown by 30%. Our industrial capacity has increased by over 400%. Our technological advancement has surpassed our former council colleagues in virtually every field. Han activated a holographic display showing the expansion of human space. 2 years ago, humanity controlled 12 star systems. Now they controlled 43 systems and had established trade relationships throughout a region spanning hundreds of light years. More importantly, Han continued, we have proven that cooperation is more powerful than control. Our alliance network includes 36 species who have chosen partnership over membership, trade over tribute, friendship over fear. Fleet Admiral Jo Mion sat in her command center aboard the flagship Soul's Fire, monitoring the latest intelligence reports from throughout the galaxy. She was 42 years old with short black hair and sharp eyes that had guided humanity through 2 years of defensive preparations. Admiral, reported Intelligence Director Kang Seojin, Council military forces are being repositioned throughout their remaining territory. It appears they're preparing for internal conflicts rather than external threats. Joe studied the tactical displays showing Council fleet movements. Rebellions? Not exactly, sir. Several species are demanding renegotiation of their membership terms. They want the same independence humans achieved, but they want to remain Council members. The Council is refusing, and tensions are rising. Joe nodded grimly. This was exactly what President Han had predicted. Once species realized that independence was possible, they would demand better treatment from the Council. The Council's refusal to change would create internal conflicts that would tear the organization apart. From within, any threats to Federation space? None, sir. Council forces are too busy dealing with internal problems to threaten us. If anything, some Council species have been requesting Federation protection from Council enforcement actions. This was perhaps the most dramatic change of all. Species that had been Council members for centuries were now asking humanity for protection from their own government. The Council had become the very thing it claimed to protect against, a threatening force that species needed protection from. Trade. Representative O Taishan reviewed the latest economic reports in his office on Trade Station Alpha. The numbers told a story of transformation that was reshaping the galaxy's entire economic structure. Sir, his assistant Kim Min-hee reported, we've received 14 new trade requests this week. The Andromedan Mining Collective wants to establish a permanent trade agreement. The Vegan Agricultural Union is requesting Federation farming technology. The Centauri Research Consortium wants to join our scientific exchange program. O smiled as he reviewed the requests. All non-council species? Actually, sir, 3 of them are current council members who are conducting trade negotiations in secret. They're afraid the council will punish them for dealing with us directly. This secrecy was becoming common. Council members wanted access to human goods and technology, but council regulations forbade independent trade negotiations. So they conducted business through intermediaries, neutral species, and unofficial channels. The council can't stop trade if they don't know it's happening, O observed. And they can't monitor every transaction in the galaxy. The human trade network had become so extensive and efficient that it was impossible for the Council to track or control. Goods produced in Federation space reached Council territories through dozens of intermediate steps, often ending up in Council markets without anyone realizing their origin. Council Emergency Director Zalmec stood before an emergency session of the full Council, delivering a crisis assessment that painted the darkest picture in Council history. His reptilian features showed deep concern as he presented data that had taken months to compile. The situation is critical, Zalmec announced. Council authority has collapsed in over 40% of our former territory. Member species are ignoring our directives, refusing to pay fees, and conducting independent foreign policy. General Vexmore's forearms were crossed in a gesture of barely controlled rage. Then we enforce our authority, deploy the fleet, remind these rebellious species why they need Council protection. With what fleet? Zalmec replied coldly. 17 of our member species have withdrawn their ships from Council service. Our remaining military forces are inadequate to enforce control over the territory we still claim. Trade Minister Coxaval's wings buzzed with panic. We must negotiate with the humans, offer them council leadership positions, give them control over trade policy, anything to stop this collapse. The humans have already rejected 3 formal offers of council leadership, Zalmek reported. They have no interest in controlling the council. They simply want to be left alone to pursue their own development. This was the most frustrating aspect of the crisis from the council's perspective. Humanity was not trying to conquer or control anyone. They were simply demonstrating that independence was possible, and other species were following their example. We could offer them membership in a reformed council, suggested Ambassador Turval of the Epsilon Collective. Equal status, voting rights, reduced fees, minimal regulations. Velthar's light patterns flickered with bitter irony. They already have better than equal status. They have complete independence. Why would they accept anything less? On the agricultural world of New Busan, farmer Li Jisu harvested crops that fed not only human colonies, but dozens of allied species throughout the region. His farming techniques, developed through human research and innovation, produced yields that exceeded anything the council had achieved. Another record harvest, he told his daughter as they watched automated harvesters work through fields of golden grain. We're producing enough food to supply 100 colonies now. Similar scenes played out across human space. Manufacturing facilities produced goods more efficiently than council factories. Research stations developed technologies that surpassed council science. Space yards built ships that outperformed council vessels in every category. But perhaps, most importantly, human society had developed a sense of purpose and direction that had been missing during the council years. People worked harder because they believed in what they were building. Innovation flourished because there were no bureaucratic barriers to new ideas. Cooperation expanded because mutual benefit was more attractive than hierarchical control. Back in the council chamber, the emergency session continued with increasingly desperate proposals. Some members suggested military action against human allies to demonstrate council strength. Others proposed economic sanctions against any species that traded with humans. A few even suggested negotiating a complete surrender to human authority. We have one remaining option, General Vexmore announced, his scarred face grim with determination.